As creative city-making artists, we strongly stand in accord and support with the civil disobedience happening across the city, and especially the occupation at the 4th Precinct in North Minneapolis. After witnessing the occupation, our work this year is at once visceral and personal. As creative city-making artists, Minneapolis, we strong Stanley in accord and support with the civil disobedience happening across the city, and especially the occupation at the 4th Precinct in North Minneapolis. After witnessing the occupation, our work during this year is at once visceral and personal.
We hope we can make a difference with the letter. As creative city-making artists, we strongly stand in accord and support with the civil disobedience happening across the city, and especially the occupation at the 4th Precinct in North Minneapolis. After witnessing the occupation, our work during this year is at once visceral and very personal.
As artists, our lens, song, painting, or dance in activism is shaped by our interaction with the city in which we live. We've observed firsthand the brutality, the denial of racial hatred, and the police officers clashing with protesters, the grief, the confusion, and the anger. This chain of events deeply affects us and reminds us why art is such an inseparable part of a democratic society. What happens in the city of Minneapolis, in the larger state of Minnesota, by default impacts us all. When the community is injured, we too are in pain.
We hope to illustrate how city enterprise affects everyone. With this letter, we stand against any ideology of racial supremacy that divides our city.
There's urgent work to be done, beginning with acknowledging and naming systems in need of repair. The historic and systematic disenfranchisement, neglect, and erasure are indicative that changes are needed. We hope to move past a cultural history of exclusion toward a new city that identifies, protects, and honors the lives of its African American residents. This means that we will work toward a deep and urgent commitment to finding new and equitable paths forward together. If this injustice continues to be upheld by apathy, fear, normalization, and enforcement of poverty, violence and suffering would inevitably continue to rise. We must activate our individual and collective intelligence and creativity to shape a new city and new ways to value and build with each other. The city, its families, and the people's lives depend on it.
Our year-long processes have been spent working on the ground level. It has been inextricably linked to the unfair stories and killings of children, Black, brown, indigenous, and unarmed. Because we work in, live in, and represent these same communities, our journeys this year reflect some of those stories as we make art and history in the city of Minneapolis. Creative city making is premised on the One Minneapolis goal of reducing and eliminating racial disparities so all residents can prosper. If the city is to move forward, if we all are to move forward, we must readjust our moral compass and tell a holistic story.
We will continue to walk with our communities on that path as stewards, as advocates for the communities we dwell and work in. We show our support for the changes to move past the silence and the crippling patterns of racial injustice to nurture life instead of taking life. We are pushing for these goals within our work, our lives, and our place in the story and the state of the arts in Minnesota.
Mic check.
Mic
Mic
check.
check.
Mic check.
Mic
Mic
check.
check.
Mic check.
Mic
Mic
check.
check.
We stand with our city community.
We stand with our city community.
Coming together
Coming together.
to demand transformative justice and real racial equity throughout the city. This is our city community. We are all connected. We stand with our city community, coming together to demand transformative justice and racial equity throughout the city. This city is our city community. We are all connected. Say it with us, please. We stand with our city community. We can't hear you. We stand with our city community. Louder. We stand with our city community. Coming together to demand transformative justice and racial equity throughout the city. This is our city community. We are all connected. We are all connected. We are all connected.